Welcome back, accounting students. This is Mrs. Bloomquist, and we're working through Chapter 10, Accounting for Sales and Cash Receipts. We're on to Lesson 3, where we're going to account for cash and credit card sales. So as we move forward, a couple things that you want to think about as you work through this chapter. First of all, we're going to be referring to a POS system. That would be a point of sale system. Those are the terminals that businesses use to do their business transactions. That point of sale terminal typically has a scanner, and you don't want to shine it in your face because it has that really crazy bright red light. But they use it to scan the UPC symbol on merchandise. That's the Universal Product Code. That UPC symbol has all kinds of merchandise information embedded in it, and it allows the POS system to help a business keep an accurate record of inventory, all of the merchandise they have, and all kinds of costing and pricing information, and it's all then tied back to the individual unique UPC code on the merchandise. So, as businesses go about operating, when people want to buy from them, they scan the code, the POS system generates receipts, totals items up, adds sales tax, and then periodically businesses go ahead and print reports out of that POS system, and those are called terminal summaries. So we just want to be thinking through that POS system is really going to help a business out in terms of all of the records that they need to keep to be successful. So the learning objectives for this chapter deal with recording cash and credit card sales, and then journalizing the cash receipts that are on account using a cash receipts journal. Again, anytime there's a sale in which the customer pays for the amount at the time of purchase, that's a cash sale. Credit card sales, debit card sales, these are both treated as cash sales because the money for these purchases is received in a very short amount of time. So those would not be recorded differently. Again, the POS, and then the terminal summary is that summary or that total up of all the transactions in the POS system. Now, what I'll tell you is that most businesses generate these summaries on a daily basis. One thing to think about is that those POS systems are so fantastic because you can generate lots of different types of reports. You could do it by sales clerk, so you can see who's most efficient or who's processing the most amount of transactions. You can see things by time of day, so that you could go ahead and look at, hey, we have a lot of our sales between this time of day and this time of day. That's when we need to have higher staffing levels. Or you can look at average sales amount, or looking at the average amount of items per sale, so that you can really track how your business is doing and think through ways that your business could grow. So there are lots of different reporting options that are tied to a good POS system that can really be helpful for the business. All right, when you generate a summary report out of a POS terminal, what you see then are the time, and you can get them out a couple different ways, but pretty helpful to see the types of transactions that are being run through your terminal. So looks like in this terminal summary, we've got some Visa transactions, some MasterCard, things are done by a debit card, and what's done actually truly by cash. All the sales information for credit card sales is then stored in the POS terminal. And what happens is that on a daily basis, there is a batch report that is generated, and it can be really detailed, and it can go item by item for every credit card, or it can just be the summary, which just shows the total number of sales by credit card type, which is kind of what we were looking at. The process of getting that batch report from the point of sale terminal or the POS terminal is called batching out, and businesses typically do this at the end of every day. They batch out, and this information gets submitted so the businesses can get paid. For the purposes of this chapter, you're going to be hearing that these reports are generated on a weekly basis. That's only to simplify the accounting work that you're going to be doing. In the real world, businesses are going to do this every single day. So in terms of a batch report, we're looking at the number of transactions via Visa, which was 33, the total sales, any returns, and the net amount that we want to receive from Visa, from MasterCard, from our debit cards, and then the totals. So anytime that batch out piece happens, we'll go back and look at it. Businesses have a couple different options how they want to collect money from Visa and MasterCard. Most of the time, they work with some kind of third-party vendor, and that third-party vendor handles multiple business information, sending information to batch files to Visa, so that Visa then requests all kinds of money from different banks, and then they process kind of as a third party and submit the money back to business bank accounts. And in this particular case, 3Green, which is the company we're looking at now, they go ahead and contract with a company called Credit Corp. And so Credit Corp processes all these credit card sales. 3Green sends them a report on a daily basis with all of the information needed to collect the money from the various people that have accounts with Visa, and then that Credit Corp sends it off to Visa. Visa requests all the money, and then Credit Corp, once they have the money back, they put it into the business's account. It's just a lot easier in terms of a time and an expense standpoint to contract with a third party, so that businesses on their own individual basis don't have to be reaching out to Visa and MasterCard and multiple banks to be able to collect the funds that they need. All right, so as we move forward, the cash receipts journal, again, a special journal that's used to record only cash receipt transactions. And we want to remember, when we have businesses that pay in a certain amount of time, that we do offer a cash discount that's taken on a sale. And so we offer that cash discount, and we want to make sure that we record that correctly in our cash receipts journal. So if we're looking at a cash and credit card sale, so we're looking at on November 4th, a sale of $62.80 plus the sales tax of $376.80, and the total is $66.56.80. Terminal summary 35. We're going to go ahead and you can see what happens with our cash that and our sales and our sales tax. So it's a debit, and then it's a credit to sales and a credit to sales tax payable. When we put this in our cash receipts journal, you can see we're recording the date, and we're putting a check mark. The terminal summary, remember this was terminal summary 35. Again, checking in our post reference. The sales credit, sales tax payable credit, and then we're going to go ahead and debit our cash. Cash receipt on account. Now, the first one was for a cash and credit card sale on our cash receipts journal. Remember, that's when people pay right now. But when we receive cash on account, this is when somebody received merchandise from us previously, we sent an invoice, and now they're paying us. So we received cash on account from Edmonds Hospital, and we're going to go ahead and debit cash for $2,516.80. And then our accounts payable is a credit, and it's going to reduce our accounts payable. So in our cash receipts journal, the 4th, the customer's name is Edmonds Hospital. The receipt that we generated is 610. Again, always thinking through, hey, if we get audited, we need to have good records. We're going to go ahead and credit our accounts receivable the amount of the sales invoice, and then the actual cash we received is a debit for $2516.80. Now, Businesses frequently offer discounts to good customers, customers that have accounts with us, and we do it to encourage people to pay more promptly. And so if we offer them a 2% discount on a $14.50 invoice, the amount of the discount is $29, and it promotes them paying us promptly. So if we're going to journalize this cash that was on account that includes a sales discount, we have to remember that we have an additional item to add, which is that debit to sales discount. So on the 5th, Palmer Dentistry, receipt 611, accounts receivable credit for $14.50, because we're going to go ahead and use the original sales amount. We then have our sales discount debit and our cash debit. So the sales discount and the cash add up to the accounts receivable. All right, so using the audit your understanding questions, how does a POS, a point of sale terminal, determine the price of an item? Before any sales are entered into the system, all of the information for the merchandise has to be entered and stored into the POS system. So the number on the UPC, the number that we have on hand, the description, the price, all of that information gets entered into the terminal, and then we can start using that terminal to process transactions. The two types of batch reports, they can be either really detailed, showing all the credit card information, sales information, or they can be just the summary showing just the totals. All right, what would be meant by credit terms that are 210 and 30? This means if we pay within 10 days, we get a 2% discount. If we don't, then net, or the entire invoice amount, is due within 30 days. Okay, so if we pay within 10 days, we get to reduce by 2%, otherwise net due in 30 days. The other thing that you want to be thinking through for this particular lesson has to do with how much companies actually pay to have credit cards processed, and what credit card transactions processed, what actually might go into what businesses pay. And it's always a percentage of sales, but whether that amount is higher or lower, you would just want to consider what could impact that. And then, why might businesses be willing to offer sales discounts to their customers? And think through those questions as well. So from here, lesson 3, you want to go out and answer the questions on the form. Please remember to do that. And then you can go out to Aplia and do the work together and on your own problems for 10-3. All right, everybody, good luck.